I was born ready. Let's go, man. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Time to chew some of y'all up real quick. I'm sick of seeing stupid ass comments, so I gotta address this Mexican date thing. Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao. He's been in the press. Pacquiao has responded. Cotto Canelo is on the back end trying to make that fight. They're both fighting for the same dates for the Pride. Let's get into it. May 2nd, 2015. Whose night is it? Who deserves that spot? I'm telling you. I shout out to all people. I don't care your creed, your background, your color, your height, your gender. None of that shit matters to me. I'm a boxing fan. Now, Canelo will lose to Floyd Mayweather for a second time if Mayweather versus Pacquiao is actually made on May 2nd and he tries to go up. I'm telling you, he needs to move his date if that fight is made. Now, if Mayweather fought some other challenger like Danny Garcia or Amir Khan, that's a different story. But if Pacquiao and Mayweather, if it's that fight versus Canelo Cotto, Mayweather Pacquiao by far is the A side fight, not Cotto Canelo. Now, let me tell you, before some of you guys get on a rampage and start thinking with your hearts instead of your brain, I want to see Canelo Cotto. That's an excellent fight. The more meaningful fight is still Mayweather Pacquiao. Let's break it down. Mayweather still undefeated. Maidana gave him a run for his money. Guess what? Came up short 2 times. He's still undefeated. Pacquiao, since his knockout loss in a competitive fight, keep in mind, where Marquez and Pacquiao both had knockdowns and he was looking good, got a little reckless, got knocked out. But either way, that's not the type. It's a bad loss, but you went up against a rival that had 3 other times to study you, mimic your moves and your feints, and get a read on you. So that's a loss, but you lost to a formidable foe. It's not like you lost to some scrub. Then moving on, he came back, demolished Brandon Rios with ease. Worse than anybody. Brandon Rios actually physically started crying. I'm not joking. I'm not saying like, oh, he looked like he was literally crying, talking to Christina Poncher after the Pacquiao fight. He was like, I worked so hard, and he was crying. Pacquiao made him cry. Then Pacquiao came back, set the record straight officially with Timothy Bradley, gave him his first blemish on his record. An undefeated fighter who is a great fighter with a deep resume gave him his first blemish and set the record straight. Even though a lot of people, including myself, thought Pacquiao won the first fight, but it was competitive, more competitive than people thought. But I still had Pacquiao winning both of those fights. Then he demolishes Chris Algieri, 6 knockdowns. We know it wasn't really 6, but nonetheless, he won every round, and one of those knockdowns was crucial, and he clapped Chris Algieri's shit and got let out the cage or whatever. That's the timeline of Pacquiao Mayweather, where they're at in their careers. Now, you look at Miguel Cotto, he's not too far removed from a Mayweather loss, and then a consecutive Austin Trout loss in his backyard in New York City. And we've seen Trout lose since then and look suspect. I think Trout's last 4 fights, he got knocked down 3 times. Edeslandi Lara knocked him down. Canelo knocked him down. And that was his, his best win, I guess you could say. It was against Cotto. And Cotto looked pretty shitty in that fight. Cotto came back, fought Delvin Rodriguez, a journeyman who Austin Trout already beat, had already had losses before that. And then he fought Sergio Martinez. Now, he looked incredible in the Sergio Martinez fight, but put it in perspective, Martinez was off a long layoff, right? They were in Cotto's backyard again in New York, and he dominated that fight. But perspective-wise, a lot of people know that Sergio Martinez, it didn't look like he was fully fucking recovered. He was off of an injury, and it showed. Cotto did what he had to do, won convincingly. Now you look at Canelo. Canelo fought Austin Trout, shaky. I had Canelo winning that fight. Some people still say Trout won that fight. I think it was more competitive. The open scoring was bullshit. I do give him that. But I still had Canelo personally winning, especially with the knockdown. Then he got completely outclassed after the second or third round versus Mayweather. Easy work. Came back, beat Angulo off of a loss. They both were off of a loss. And he beat Angulo, beat him up bad. Looked real good in that fight. Brought the fight to Angulo. Came back, fought Edeslandi Lara. And it's questionable. A lot of people say Canelo won. based on the body shots and whatnot and him getting aggressive and turning it up. A lot of people say Edeslandi Lara won. Me personally, I thought Edeslandi Lara didn't look spectacular, but I had him winning by a small margin. I thought his early work, he's picking off his shots better, caused Canelo to look foolish and miss a little bit, but Canelo really turned up the heat, started ripping to the body, got more aggressive, and that's where he started coming on. I had Lara winning barely, but it was a good fight. So that's the chronological order of Cotto and Canelo. So Canelo coming off a controversial win where a lot of people thought he lost, a lot of people thought he won, 50-50 if you will. Miguel Cotto coming off of a meaningful win for himself, first Puerto Rican to set titles in 4 divisions or whatever, against an ailing, wounded warrior in Sergio Martinez. You can't dispute that. No, Sergio has never looked that piss poor. And you can't give Cotto all the credit for that. It was apparent his injury played something. He couldn't even stand up. You know what I'm saying? Put it in real perspective. And I'm a huge Cotto fan. But I'm real, and I'm a fan of myself, and I'm a fan of reality too. And you can't omit that. So that is the momentum behind Canelo Cotto. Again, I think stylistically, that's a hell of a matchup between the two because I think they both have heart. They're both going to come to bring it, different styles. It's a pick'em fight. But going into that fight, that is what they're off of. They're off of those wins and those previous fights, those wins and those losses. Versus Mayweather Pacquiao, a fight we've been talking about for 5 or 6 years. 5 or 6 years. Go to any Mayweather video with 10,000 plus views and count how many comments you see and the different approaches and the different sides and the different perspectives of who would win and who caused the fight not to happen and all that. And you'll see it nonstop. Clear as day, Mayweather versus Pacquiao is the A-side fight. Canelo Cotto is a great fight, but based on the history and based on their previous fights, there's no way it's going to outshine and do bigger numbers if they had both of those fights on the same day. It is not beating Pacquiao Mayweather, point blank. So therefore, Canelo Cotto need to back off that date. I don't know why Bob Arum's saying like why should the A side fight surrender to the B side fight? Please explain that to me. That makes no. Obviously, Mayweather and Pacquiao are this generation's best, or amongst them. You have to include them. You know what I mean? Based on their resumes, what they've done for the sport, their wins, their accomplishments, the awards, all of that. Pacquiao got fucking fighter of the decade. Mayweather's still undefeated. Highest paid athlete and stuff like that. So why would, with that criteria and that pedigree, why would they surrender and back off of some dates just because they're quote-unquote Mexican dates? And then you look at the Mexican dates, it's not like the fight actually falls on Cinco de Mayo. It's the week of. You know what I'm saying? If there's a holiday, it doesn't mean politically correct, okay, it's Cinco de Mayo week, so it makes sense. I understand it. But it's not like it actually falls on the Mexican holiday of Cinco de Mayo. In fact, it's 3 days earlier. You know what I'm saying? So I get it, but at the same time, not to the point where I feel Cotto Canelo outshines or would trump in any way Mayweather versus Pacquiao. And some of you guys are leaving comments saying that Floyd needs to back off the dates. Why? Historically, he's been fighting on those dates in recent memory, and he's been doing great numbers. So if it's not broke, don't fix it. Why would he just back up to two guys he beat, Canelo and Cotto? Like, I don't really understand it. That doesn't make sense. Why he would surrender and give them leverage. And some of you, I realize just from talking to you, you don't understand how business works. You know what I mean? If there's two rival business entities competing, everyone has like a Napoleon complex. There's egos involved. There's greed. There's money. Different things like that. You think if McDonald's is going to release a new burger and Burger King had plans to release a new burger, do you think either one of them are going to budge? Like, no, I'm releasing on this date. No, I am. They'll both just fucking release and try to do numbers and compete. That's the nature of business. So for Floyd Mayweather to say, you know what, I beat both of those guys. Pacquiao beat one of those guys, but I'm going to give him the dates. That doesn't make any fucking business sense. He's been making a killing, making money. Pacquiao is obviously the fight that everybody wants to see him fight, and it's on a time period where, you know what I mean, people have time and make barbecues and stuff like that. Why would he surrender that? Why would he, to give them an advantage and give them killer sales, why would he back off and say, you know what, they can have it, they can have that doesn't make any business sense, especially Floyd Mayweather. If you guys know anything about Mayweather, he's about his money, and he makes it 100% known that he's the A side. That's, you know what I mean, he thrives off of that. So why would he give any leverage or cower down to a lesser fight? That doesn't make any sense. Why would he give them the satisfaction, and Bob Arum, a guy he hates, why would he give him the satisfaction of bowing down and making an alternate fight on his dates? He wants to flex. Floyd likes to power play situations and people. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, we're fighting on my terms, MGM, da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? He likes to call the shots. So in this given example, why would he all of a sudden defer and not call the shots and say, you know what, I don't care. Even though last year, before Cotto Canelo got into serious talks, I said I want to fight on these dates. I'm going to give up these dates. That doesn't make sense to me. So let me know what you guys think of this quote-unquote Mexican dates. Who should fight then? Should Floyd back down? If you believe that, why? Who does a bigger pay-per-view buys? Canelo and Cotto, because it has two Hispanic Latin fighters, one being Mexican. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like my video. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next videos, Ego, signing off.